actions were because of what I chose to do.
Shoot, shot fired, shot fired!
I could not stop myself.
Get up! God!
So I really am sorry.
This is what you did!
I wish Judge Allen would say to me, there he is. Do whatever you want. I would kill you. You killed my daughter.
This is Ethan Crumbly, a mass shooting suspect facing multiple murder charges in Michigan. On November 30th, 2021, 15-year-old Ethan opened fire at his Oxford high school, fatally injuring several students and teachers. Ethan reportedly used his father's 9mm handgun, who called 911 once he found the gun missing.
I have a missing gun, and my son was at the school, and then someone told me that there was an active shooter, and then I raced home just to find out, and I think my son took the gun.
Within minutes, first responders arrived at the scene.
Car is responding on an Assista County medical emergency, Oxford High School. Scene is not secure, possible multiple injuries.
They evacuated everyone to safety.
Slow down, you're fine.
Tragically, it was too late for 3 students who died at the scene. A 4th succumbed to his injuries later at the hospital. Ethan was arrested shortly after the shooting. His parents were called to the station where they confronted their killer son.
I don't think we need to have so many questions right now.
However, Ethan's only concern was his cat Dexter, apparently named after a psychopathic TV character.
I love you.
His parents were shocked at their son's lack of remorse. Ethan was charged with first-degree murder and terrorism. At his trial, the prosecution laid out the seriousness of the case.
The hearing today is the most important legal proceeding in the lives of nearly everyone in this courtroom. It is incredibly important for the defendant. His life is at stake. But everyone else is here in this courtroom today because this defendant made the decision to kill 4 other people and to take their lives instead of his own.
Ethan's journal and chilling text messages containing a list of things he needed for the shooting, including pistol mags, a mask, and a knife, were presented as evidence.
And then throughout this page, the defendant write a list of items it appears that he plans to take on November the 30th.
Ethan had written his desires for the shooting in graphic detail.
I will cause the biggest school shooting in Michigan's history. I will kill everyone I see. The first victim has to be a pretty girl with a future so she can suffer just like me.
Ethan also mentioned that he wanted his victims' parents to suffer.
I just saw a group of girls sitting down in the hallway. If I had my pistol on me, then I would have not hesitated to blow both of their brains out. I would just hope their parents will feel with sadness and distraught. When I shoot up the school, I hope that every parent of kids I gratefully murder will be so sad that they kill themselves.
There were also recordings of a failed kidnapping and murder plan of a girl next door.
I started making a plan. It was a plan to kidnap and kill her. I talked to find out where she lives and found out she lives a 5-minute walk away from me. I made this plan to break in the BR bedroom at night and kidnap her with an industrial-sized garbage bag. I would then...
Like, this paragraph is better, but like the last paragraph, it was like a 5-year-old wrote it. And this paragraph is more, okay, it's more literate, but why would you write all this down? Like, this just goes to show, like, smart people don't kill people because they're smart. They think about the consequences. This guy is just, like, mentally handicapped and probably has no friends and is depressed and sees all these other mass killings and thinks, like, oh, I'm gonna do something with my life because that's all he thinks he can do with his life. Because obviously he's not smart. So it's fucking idiots like that just... that's why I'm, like, losing faith in the world. It's just...
take her to my basement where I would torture and until I slit her throat alive. I was so close to executing the plan, but fortunately, my friend, Redacted, stopped me very calmly.
A week before the shooting, Ethan did a bunch of Google searches about prison sentences in Michigan.
He Google searched, what is the worst prison sentence you can get in Michigan? He wrote, what is a life sentence for a 15-year-old?
One day before the incident, he recorded his thoughts and plans for the shooting.
My name is Ethan Crumbly, aged 15, and I will walk behind someone and I will shoot a bullet in their skull. I'm going to open fire on everyone in that hallway. The hallways are too jam-packed. I will try and hit as many people as I can, and I will find people hiding. I'm going to teach them a lesson.
Ethan went on to say how he couldn't get the idea of killing people out of his mind.
I can't stop thinking about it. Like, it's constantly in my head. Every conversation I have with someone, no matter what, I'm thinking about it.
His school principal took to the stand where she recounted how she desperately tried to save one of the victims.
I could feel the entrance wound in the back of his head. I could see.
Maybe he was writing all that stuff down because I was going to say, like, if anybody ever really feels like that, instead of acting out on it, they should talk about it to people and go to therapy. And maybe that's what he was trying to do, like write it down so people would find it and then stop him, which is good. But should never act out these things. Always seek help, talk about it, because there's definitely a problem if you're thinking like that.
That the bullet had exited through his eye. When I put my hand down on the ground, I put my hand in what would have been his eyeball. I immediately started to take his pulse and check his vitals as best as I could.
Ethan initially pleaded not guilty on the grounds of insanity, since he had several chaotic meltdowns in custody. While one time he asked for help, on another occasion he kept yelling, "Oh God, why didn't you stop it?" and "I am sorry."
Why didn't you stop it? Why didn't you stop it? I know you stop it. Please stop it. Please stop it. Please stop it. Why didn't you stop it, God? Why didn't you stop it? I'm sorry. Please, God. I'm sorry.
A mental health expert said Ethan had a psychosis episode and deemed him mentally ill.
We witness a child in the throes of psychosis. He's having a panic attack and a break with reality.
A school senior also said that Ethan was often bullied and picked on.
No, I do not know who he is, but I have seen him around the school, and he's a kid, he's the regular kid that goes to school, He's been picked on and stuff like this, so when a kid has been picked on and stuff, people's bullying him, you're gonna get this. You're gonna get this reaction.
However, Ethan later confessed and pleaded guilty to all charges.
Is it true that your actions on November the 30th, 2021 caused the deaths of Madison Baldwin, Tamir, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling?
Yes.
At his sentencing, family members of the victims addressed the killer of their loved ones.
As I don't wish death upon you, that would be too easy. I hope the thoughts consume you and they replay over and over in your head. The thoughts won't stop.
I can't stop thinking about it.
I'm sure you heard that paraphrase before. I hope the screams keep you up at night and they cause real hallucinations.
While the mother of one victim wished for a worse punishment than death, the father of another asked the judge to sentence him to life.
I feel strongly that the individual should never be allowed to walk among his peers again. And this is why I'm going to ask you to lock this son of a up for the rest of his pathetic life. His blatant lack of human decency and disturbing thoughts on life in general do not in any way warrant a second chance. My son doesn't get a second chance, and neither should he.
A remorseful Ethan spoke to the victims' families and apologized for the pain he caused them.
My actions were because of what I chose to do. I
could not stop myself, but I am the one who led to why we are here today. Because I really am sorry for what I've done, for what I've taken of them. I cannot give it back, but I can try my best in the future to help other people, and that is what I will do.
Ultimately, it was time to learn his fate.
The court cannot underscore defendant's extensive planning and execution in this case enough. He practiced shooting at a gun range, and on November 30th, 2021.
Yeah, see, that's the big thing. It wasn't just like he got bullied that day and then he had brought a gun because he was always getting bullied and then he just opened fire. No. He was planning this out. He has a cat called Dexter. Like, this guy's a psychopath. He needs to stay in jail forever.
He could have chosen not to conduct the school shooting, but he didn't. He continued to walk through the school, picking and choosing who was going to die. But defendant shot and killed Justin Schilling at point blank range after having him get down on his knees in front of another student. He shot most people multiple times. And as he wrote, he did this for notoriety. And he wanted to go down in history as the biggest school shooter in Michigan history. He wanted to see the impact of his crime, which is why he did not take his own life. With that, the court having read the PSI and being fully familiar with the defendant and the underlying facts of this case, senses of the court is that defendant shall serve life without the possibility of parole.
Ethan Crumbley was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 24 years.
But what is that? Sometimes life is like 30 years, or is it, sometimes it's like the full natural life. Anyway.
Later, his parents James and Jennifer Crumbley were charged with involuntary manslaughter for failing to secure the handgun and ignoring the warning signs of their son's behavior. Ethan had previously claimed that he paid James to buy him the gun, which was used in the shooting.
Is it true that you asked him to buy the firearm?
Yes.
Is it true that you gave him your own money to buy the firearm?
Yes.
CCTV footage also showed Ethan practicing shooting with Jennifer at a local range with the same gun just days before he killed.
Yeah, but maybe they're being good, trying to be good parents. Like, hey, my son wants to have fun shooting guns. Like, I would love to shoot guns. I'm a Canadian, but like I could get a gun license and do all that there, and I might. I'm thinking about it, but like, it's just for fun. Like, I have bows and arrows, and it's just target practice and stuff. You could use a spoon to kill someone, you know, you could use anything to kill someone. It's just another weapon. So, you know, if he wanted to, he could have went to school with knives and stabbed a bunch of people, the same amount of people that he killed with that gun. So, it's just a tool. I don't see it as like a weapon. It is a weapon, but it's a tool. Everyone can use it differently. And like, I would love target practice, and being good with guns is just good self-defense. If your country gets invaded, you know, and you have a country full of citizens that are armed and ready and they're good with guns, yeah, that's scary. People don't want to invade America because they're all armed to the nine, you know. So anyways,
4 people. The parents fled after the shooting and were arrested while hiding in a friend's shop.
It's dramatic body cam video of a SWAT team arresting the parents of school shooter Ethan Crumbley.
The police, realizing they got a call, they got a tip that the car was seen at a location, and the police just swarmed in. We saw heavily armed police officers, SWAT team members all over the east side of Detroit looking for them.
Both were convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison. This was the first time in American history that a parent was criminally charged for a mass school shooting committed by their child. While Ethan Crumbley will spend the rest of his life in prison for shooting up his school, how does it compare to having a change?
But that's a little crazy because the parents didn't, well, they bought the gun for him and stuff, but yeah, because he's a minor, right? He wasn't allowed to own a gun. But I thought minors in the America could shoot guns and stuff. Like, if any Americans are watching this, please comment and let me know, because anyways.
I could have shot her, but I don't know. I just couldn't do it.
Like in the case of 19-year-old Sky Boucher, who's facing trial for a school shooting in Florida. On April 20th, 2018, 2 months after the Parkland High School shootings, which killed 17 people, CCTV footage showed former student Boucher entering Forest High School with a blue backpack and a black guitar case. The guitar case contained a shotgun, while his backpack stored a tactical vest, gloves, and multiple shotgun shells. Boucher entered the boys' washroom, loaded his gun, and changed into his gear. Armed with his weapon, Boucher then walked towards classroom 212 and fired around into the door, injuring a student standing behind it. When police arrived, they found the injured student lying on a makeshift bed of chairs.
What the hell is that?
Who was that?
996.
Since Boucher was nowhere to be found, they asked the staff to lock down the school.
Hey, lock this school down.
Then, one of the officers discovered that Boucher was in a classroom down the hall.
Somebody said McManus has the kid. Huh? McManus has the kid. Where?
They rushed there, only to find the teenager sitting on a chair, waiting to surrender.
Down on the ground. What the hell? Put your hands behind your back.
Much to the officer's disbelief, Boucher tried to justify his actions.
I'm sorry, sir.
What do you say?
I wasn't raised by the right people.
Are you kidding me?
There's a lot of violence. I don't know, in medication.
45 in the front doors of the main building are all.
I would punch him in the fucking face right there. I would just be like, shut the fuck up, and I would punch him in the face. 100% I wouldn't care if I was an officer.
I don't know.
Are you serious?
I don't know why I did it.
Don't say another word.
Sometimes, I just don't feel anything. It's hard to describe because no one believes me.
He said his family members had a long history of mental illness.
Do you have a mental disorder?
Everyone in my family is either bipolar or schizophrenic.
Okay, are you bipolar or schizophrenic?
I've been to a mental hospital once and they told me I was fine.
Boucher was taken into custody, where he faced charges of discharge of a firearm on school property, possession of a short-barrel gun, and burglary of a structure with a firearm.
Get up.
Just taking this west stairwell. Take him down.
After his arrest, Boucher gave an interview where he claimed he had a violent upbringing.
It's not really my mental or disease or anything like that. It's just being around stuff that, a child shouldn't be around. My first memory is violence and conflict. That's my first memory.
Boucher also said that he felt remorseful after shooting the kid, so he stopped and surrendered himself to a teacher.
Do you feel sorry? Do you feel remorseful?
Yeah. That's why I put down the gun. I could have kept going. There was no officers there.
Boucher said he was afraid of what he would do and requested authorities to put him in solitary confinement.
No, just to really, really scare them. I want to be put away where I can't hurt anyone.
Eventually, Boucher pleaded no contest to his charges. Ultimately, Boucher was sentenced to a 30-year prison term for shooting and injuring a student at his high school. While Sky Boucher showed compassion even while committing a heinous crime, how does it compare to brutally murdering your teacher, like in the case of Philip Chisholm, who's on trial for a grisly murder in Massachusetts?
The defendant violently Colleen Ritzer. He viciously, brutally, and senselessly attacked Colleen.
According to reports, in 2013, 14-year-old Chisholm assaulted, stabbed, and robbed his math teacher Colleen Ritzer in a bathroom at Danvers High School. CCTV footage from the school's hallway showed Ritzer going towards the ladies' room while Chisholm secretly stalked her. He then followed his teacher inside the bathroom, putting on gloves in the process.
Like, in a school, like, was the school empty? Like, wouldn't a bunch of people hear this and come help the teacher? I don't understand.
A few minutes later, Chisholm was seen running outside, where he grabbed a large recycling bin and headed back to the bathroom. He was then seen with his face covered, dragging the bin out of the bathroom through the hallway and outside the school.
What a fucking retard, man. Like...
Police said Chisholm stole Ritzer's purse, keys, and credit card. Hours later, he even bought a movie ticket with one of the stolen credit cards.
In hours of the brutal murder of his math teacher, prosecutors say Philip Chisholm went to a movie, using his slain victim's credit card to buy the ticket.
Then, at around midnight, police found Chisholm walking along Route 1, where he confessed to the murder.
I asked him if he knew where the girl was.
What did he tell you?
He stated that she was buried in the woods.
And what did you ask him next?
I asked him if we can get to him, can we help her?
And what did he tell you?
He said no.
Police also found the murder weapon in Chisholm's pocket, covered with Ritzer's blood. Ritzer's body was found in the woods near the school.
That cop just did not care. It's just like, oh, he said no. Like, wow.
A few yards away from the place of her dream job, Chisholm was charged with first-degree assault, armed robbery, and first-degree murder. At his trial, investigators took the stand, revealing Chisholm's confession while in custody.
So he said he karate chopped her neck, which rendered her unconscious. He talked about putting his hand on her mouth, and then he talked about dragging that box cutter across her neck without it causing any injury.
Chisholm even told police where to find Ritzer's body.
We had asked him to kind of draw us a map of the area so that we could kind of pinpoint where she would be.
And if that wasn't enough, even Chisholm's defense admitted that he was a murderer.
Philip Chisholm killed Colleen Ritzer,
but offered the explanation that Chisholm was severely mentally ill.
He had been suffering from a psychotic disorder since the age of 10.
But the prosecution argued that Ritzer's murder was premeditated, as Chisholm went to school that day well prepared.
A blue sweatshirt with a hood, gloves, a mask, a box cutter.
Unsurprisingly, the jury convicted Chisholm on all counts.
The defendant, Philip Chisholm, is guilty of deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity cruelty on indictment number 2013-1446, charging him with murder in the first degree.
At his sentencing, Judge David Lowry detailed the violent nature of Chisholm's crime.
The defendant violently Colleen Ritzer. He viciously, brutally, and senselessly attacked Colleen. When the defendant was finished in the bathroom, he put Colleen Ritzer inside a recycle bin, wheeled her to the woods, and pulled up her shirt, exposing her breasts. Thereafter, he spread her legs and inserted a large tree branch inside her.
Ultimately, Chisholm was sentenced to life in prison with a chance for parole after 40 years for the murder of Colleen Ritzer.
This court will impose the mandatory life sentence for the murder of Colleen Ritzer.
But Chisholm would be back again in court in 2024. Chisholm, now 25, pleaded guilty to attempted murder and kidnapping charges.
25-year-old Philip Chisholm pleaded guilty today in Suffolk Juvenile Court.
Jesus Christ, he grew like 3 feet.
To attempted murder and kidnapping charges. He was 15 when he was charged with attacking and seriously injuring a female DYS worker back in 2014.
Back in 2015, while awaiting trial for Colleen Ritzer's murder, Chisholm attacked and seriously injured a female juvenile detention worker.
At the beginning of June, Chisholm was being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Dorchester.
The documents indicate Chisholm planned an attack on a female staff member.
This time he was sentenced to 17 to 20 years in state prison for the attack on the youth worker.
A judge sentenced Chisholm to 17 to 20 years in state prison for the attack on the youth worker.
While some say the law went easy on Philip Chisholm, what happens when you shoot up a high school football game?
It's you, shot fire, shot fire! Still up!
Like in the case of Devin Thompson, who was apprehended and arrested after shots were fired in Jacksonville, Florida. Police said on August 18th, 2023, 15-year-old Thompson opened fire into a crowd leaving a football game at First Coast High School.
We're learning the identity of the teenager who was shot by police. All of this after police say he shot into a crowd leaving a football game at First Coast High School.
Earlier that day, authorities received intelligence about potential violence between rival groups at the football game. Hence, there was a considerable police presence at the scene when Thompson fired his weapon. After hearing the shots, the officers rushed toward the crowd and noticed that Thompson was fleeing.
Hey, white shirt, white shirt! What a gun! What a shirt!
Man, why the... I guess because there's a lot of bystanders, but pretty surprised that they're trying to tase him when he has a gun. Usually they just shoot him.
A pursuit ensued as the officers fired multiple shots while Thompson ran through a wooded area and over a fence.
Hey, shoot, shot fire, shot fire! Hey, hey, hey! Holy still up! Hey, he's running to the dailies, running to the dailies!
The suspect successfully crossed a nearby street.
Sorry, but every time I see cops running, holy fuck, it's slow. Like, fuck, you're not covering, like, they can't even run across a fucking street. It takes them fucking 30 seconds or a minute to run across the street. Like, they're not even running. Like, I know you have a vest and stuff, but, like, come on. Like, start, like, training and running. Like, you guys should be able to, like, run. Like, almost marathon run. Like, that's one thing. If a suspect can run, they're gonna get away. If you can't run, like, you gotta be able to run.
But was ultimately apprehended.
Get on the ground now, kill you! Don't you move! You got him? Grab him. You got him? Yeah. Somebody handcuff him. Handcuff him. I ain't got handcuff. Neither do I. Mine's on the other guy. Put him on.
A bullet fired by one of the officers grazed Thompson's head, while another hit his lower extremities.
You're hit? Who's hit? Where are you hit? My head. Your head? Yes. Hold on. Wait a minute, my head. And right here. Where? On your hip? Yeah. Where? Hey, is that the gun? Yes. His gun's on him. Did you shoot yourself? No, you shot me.
The officers gave the teenager first aid and rushed him to a hospital.
Hey, give me your shears.
Hey, can you get a med kit? Yeah.
Here's my tourniquet, Phil. Here. Hey, I'm sorry, I gotta pull your pants down. Where's the firearm? It's on him. Grab it. Watch out.
The gun found on Thompson was reportedly stolen 5 days earlier. Thompson was later charged with discharging a firearm at school property and carrying a concealed weapon. He's currently awaiting trial. While Devin Thompson got a lethal kick up the backside for his crimes, what happens when gang members murder innocent school children? Like in the case of Melvin Jovel, who was on trial for multiple murders in New Jersey. According to reports, 21-year-old Jovel was among a group of 6 who killed 3 school friends in execution style in 2007. Police said the 6 suspects lined up their 4 victims in a Newark schoolyard where Jovel shot them in the head.
Prosecutors say Jovel and 5 other men lined the victims up in a Newark schoolyard and shot them. The men have ties to a violent gang known as MS-13.
Miraculously, one of them survived the attack. All 6 had links to the violent Central American gang MS-13. Jovel was arrested and charged with 3 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder.
The suspects ranged in age from 15 to 28 at the time of the killings. All face murder and other charges.
At his trial, Jovel described his crimes in chilling detail.
Part of the body did you shoot?
Deshaun Harvey to kill him?
Back of the head, brother.
In the back of the head? How was Mr. Harvey positioned when you shot him in the back of the head?
He was on his knees facing the wall.
So he was on his knees facing a wall, and you were behind him?
Yes.
What were they saying just before they were shot?
They was telling me to stop.
He even identified the murder weapon.
See this handgun that's 80? Is that in fact the handgun that you used to shoot 4 individuals on August 4th, 2007?
Yes.
Jovel said he shot the victims because they were making fun of him and his friend.
Why did you shoot the victims?
Because one of the victims, the lady that survived, she kept coming back and forth from where she was, making fun of Godinez and myself.
Eventually, Jovel pleaded guilty to all charges. At his sentencing, the mother of a victim addressed her daughter's killer.
I don't hate you, Mr. Jovel. I forgive you.
Even though she forgave him, the grieving mother cursed Jovel to rot in hell.
I hope that when he leaves this life, that his soul is fireproof, because he's destined to spend eternity burning in hell.
The father of one of the victims also took the stand, where he hoped for an apology from the defendant.
Is that what MS-13 membership involves? Killing innocent people? I haven't heard any of you guys ask for forgiveness or tell the family members in any way that you are sorry for your evil and despicable acts.
Ultimately, Jovel was sentenced to 245 years in prison for taking the young lives of the teenagers. In total, the 6 gangsters collectively received more than 1,000 years of prison sentences. While Melvin Jovel killed 3 innocent teens over a small fight, what happens when a hug changes a shooter's mind? Like in the case of Angel Granados Diaz, who's facing serious charges for bringing a loaded gun to his school in Portland, Oregon. On May 17, 2019, CCTV footage captured 19-year-old Granados Diaz entering Park Rose High School with a gun hidden in his arms. Moments later, the school's football coach and security officer, Keanan Lowe, was seen entering the building. The two almost crossed paths as Lowe made his way to a classroom. Moments later, Granados Diaz followed Lowe to the classroom with a shotgun tucked under his coat. Panicked students fled their classrooms and ran toward the exits. Then, in a heroic act, Lowe, a former football player himself, tackled Granados Diaz to the ground and managed to disarm him.
I lunged for the gun, put 2 hands on the gun, and I was able to wrestle it away and kind of save the day.
He was then seen with the gun in one hand and holding off the shooter with the other. He called for another teacher who took the gun away. Then, the gunman and his apprehender shared a powerful moment. Lowe embraced the young shooter in a moment of crisis. The two spent a considerable amount of time talking and hugging. Police soon rushed to the scene. Unaware that the gunman was safely disarmed, they began searching for Granados Diaz. Before finding him sitting in the hall with Lowe and arresting him. Later, a school senior said Granados Diaz was struggling with depression.
I just know he had some problems to figure out, and me and a couple others, we're going to go to speak with counselors today at lunchtime to tell us about, just tell them about the concerning behavior we've seen from him before, because it did lead to I assume is more leaning to like probably hurting himself than others.
He also said the youngster had shown suicidal behavior days before the incident.
A few weeks ago, he told us he was going to kill himself in 2 weeks. And he's been asking a lot more about like what happens after you die, like what do you think happens, etc. Stuff like that.
According to authorities, Granados Diaz had initially planned to kill himself at home, but was worried his mother would be the first to discover his body. To avoid jail time, Granados Diaz eventually pled guilty to gun-related charges.
Last week, the teen pleaded guilty to gun charges in a deal avoiding jail time.
He was sentenced to 3 years of probation, as well as immediate mental health and substance abuse treatment. While Angel Granados Diaz found an angel in the right place at the right time. What happened?
If that guy wasn't there, you know, what would have happened? You know.
Happens when you shoot your classmate, like in the case of Eli Cerna, who's in court for attempted murder charges in Ohio.
He shoots me in the chest and spin around, and he shoots me in the back, and then I fall down right here on my face. I break my 2 front teeth.
On January 20th, 2017, 17-year-old Cerna brought a gun to his West Liberty Salem High School, where he shot 2 classmates and seriously wounded 16-year-old Logan Cole.
Well, it happened on January 20th, 2017.
2 students were shot. One was point blank in the bathroom. Another was hit by a pellet from a shotgun.
Authorities received several 911 calls from panic-stricken students.
Hi, we're at West Liberty Salem High School. There's a shooter. There's a shooter at the West Liberty? Yes, West Liberty Salem High School. Okay. Do you see a gun? We heard a gun. It's right across from our classroom.
Is it one shooter? Is it one shooter? Yes. Can anybody see him? No, we all ran.
Cole suffered life-threatening injuries, but managed to live another day to tell his tale.
And I interrupted his plans the moment I stepped in. If it had been 5 minutes later, he would have stepped out and shot people in the hallway.
Cole said that day he walked into the bathroom and found Cerna standing there with a shotgun.
The shooter is standing right there, and I don't even have time to process. It's just instant. He shoots me in the chest and spin around, and he shoots me in the back, and then I fall down right here on my face. I break my 2 front teeth.
After shooting Cole twice, Cerna made his way towards his classroom and fired 2 shots at the door.
We heard 2 out in the hallway.
Before walking back to the bathroom where a badly injured Logan had managed to pull himself up.
I do remember looking up and seeing parts of me on the wall there, that's kind of one of the moments at which it became very real.
Logan then managed to talk Cerna out of doing any more damage.
Closer to the bathroom, you could hear voices inside. There were 2 kids talking. So one of them was saying, and it turned out to be Logan, was saying, hey, just put the gun down.
You haven't killed anybody. You don't need to hurt anybody else.
After that, Cerna surrendered, and staff members held him till authorities arrived. Cerna was arrested, and he later pleaded guilty to all charges. At his sentencing, Cole addressed the teenager who had shot him.
I would like you to know, though, that I have forgiven you for what you did to me in our school. I also want you to know that I believe there is a difference between forgiveness and justice.
Cerna also spoke to the court, where he expressed regret for his actions.
Something like that left a hard impression on my mind.
Ultimately, Cerna was given the maximum sentence of 23.5 years in prison for attempting to kill Logan Cole. While Eli Cerna will not be out of prison till he's well into his 40s, what happens when you bring a gun to a school rehearsal?
Shots fired at Dixon High School. Shots fired at Dixon High School.
Like in the case of Matthew Milby, who's on trial for a shootout at his school in Illinois. On May 16th, 2018, 19-year-old Milby, a former student at Dixon High School, reportedly opened fire in the school's gym, where students were practicing for their graduation ceremony.
Police say 19-year-old graduating senior Matthew Milby was firing off shots near the gym in May 2018.
On Wednesday, during rehearsals for this event, shots were fired in the school. Rather than practice walking across the stage, students were instead lining up outside in a very real crisis.
CCTV footage showed Milby first walking out of the bathroom and then heading towards the gym. Moments later, he opened fire and was seen running out of the building with the school's resource officer, Mark Dallas, in hot pursuit. Let's take a look from another angle. A student walking down the hallway is forced to take evasive actions after hearing a loud bang. Then, Milby is seen fleeing the scene with a 99mm semi-auto rifle in his hand. Officer Dallas follows him with his weapon drawn while another staff calls the authorities.
Shots fired at Dixon High School. Shots fired at Dixon High School.
Next, Milby is seen dashing across the schoolyard with Officer Dallas closely behind. The teenager then hides behind his car and the two exchange fire. When police arrived, they found Officer Dallas standing over Milby's body, who was wounded in the shootout. Milby suffered non-life-threatening injuries and was arrested. It was an emotional moment for Officer Dallas, who had to shoot one of the students he was sworn to protect. Milby was charged with 3 counts of aggravated discharge of a firearm. His mother said Milby had been suffering from depression for a long time.
I just know the kid's been real sad for a long time.
Even though he was initially deemed unfit for trial, Milby later pleaded guilty to all charges. At his sentencing, the gym teacher who was shot at by Milby forgave him.
Before everybody here, including you, Matthew, I forgive you as a person. I don't hold any grudge against you as a human.
Milby's sister also testified, where she said the youngster was abused by his mother for years.
When my brother moved out, that's when it went downhill. I think it's because there was nobody for my mom to mentally abuse and physically abuse other than focus all her energy on him.
Milby's aunt also took the stand, where she recalled often trying to protect him from his abusive environment.
We would hide him in the closet. It was very hard to feel like I could do nothing other than not open the door.
Milby, too, addressed the court, where he took responsibility and apologized for his actions.
I cannot undo what I did, but I can take responsibility and apologize to those that were hurt by my actions. I'm sorry.
Ultimately, Milby
Guy definitely has some mental issues there.
He received the maximum sentence of 30 years in prison for carrying out a shootout at his school.
The man who pled guilty to opening fire in Dixon High School in 2018 was sentenced to 30 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections today.
While Matthew Milby will spend his adulthood in jail, what happens when you shoot up a kid's school? Like in the case of Jesse Osborne, who was accused of killing 2 people in South Carolina. On September 28, 2016, 14-year-old Jesse shot and killed his father, 47-year-old Jeffrey Osborne, at their home in Anderson County.
Just before the school shooting happened, the teenager killed his father and then called his grandmother.
He then drove his father's truck and crashed it into the fence of Townville Elementary School before firing a .40 caliber pistol near the school's playground. A distraught teacher called 911.
Townville Elementary, we have an active shooter. We have a child down.
There's one child that's been shot. He's downstairs. He's downstairs in the hallway.
Okay, where's the student at?
He's downstairs. There's one kid injured. He's bleeding out. I don't. Please hurry. This baby.
I promise you, honey, they're coming as quickly and as they can, okay? I got everybody on the way to you, okay? We're trying to get somebody there as quickly as we can, okay?
The shooting left a teacher injured and critically wounded 6-year-old Jacob Hall. Tragically, the first grader succumbed to his injuries later at the hospital. Jesse was apprehended by volunteer firefighter Jamie Brock after the teenager's gun had jammed. Jesse was charged with murder, attempted murder, and several other gun-related charges. Investigations revealed that Jesse tweeted about his desire to do something bad a few months before the incident.
I keep getting that bad
WRGE to do something, ... but I don't want to kill.
Just days before the shooting, Jesse had discussed and planned the attack on Instagram.
I've already killed my dad. Okay, I'ma have my last Mountain Dew. Then it's Terminator time.
2016, should I shoot at my elementary school or my middle school?
There's so many fucking losers out there. It's unbelievable.
9/22/2016, the middle school has tons of cops. 9/22/2016, the elementary school doesn't.
Jesse also made some chilling videos shortly before the shooting.
Keep your hair straight whenever you go shoot someplace up, you know. You gotta look fabulous, you know. Just gotta look fabulous.
He even displayed the weapon which he used to kill the young boy later that day. A court doctor who evaluated Jesse said he had no remorse for his actions.
And that he, meaning Jesse, did Jacob Hall, the 6-year-old boy he shot and killed, a favor.
A favor. And that everybody loves him for it.
A teacher also testified in court, describing young Jacob's final moments.
He sent messages, my leg hurts, something's wrong with my leg. Jacob was laying there lifeless, and there was blood all around him.
Eventually, Jesse accepted a guilty plea to all charges against him.
Are you guilty of murder, Jacob Hall?
Yes, sir.
During his sentencing, Jesse pleaded to the judge for help.
I don't exactly know why I did this, but I just ask that you give me hope for a future and get me help, because I do need help.
Definitely looks like a murderer. I don't know what it is, but he's got a weird fucking face.
He also apologized for his actions.
I would just like to say sorry to my family for everything I've done. Sorry to the Hall family for everything. And sorry to every kid that was at that playground that day, every kid that was at that school that day, every teacher that was at that school that day. I would just like to say sorry to every single one of them.
Finally, it was time for the young shooter to learn his fate.
The sentence is going to be life in prison for murders. It's going to be 30 years attempted murders.
Ultimately, Jesse was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of 6-year-old Jacob Hall. While Jesse Osborne will spend the rest of his life in prison for killing 2 people, what happens when a child commits a mass shooting? Like in the case of Kosta Kikmanovic, who's accused of killing multiple people in Belgrade, Serbia. On May 3rd, 2023, 13-year-old Kekmanovic opened fire at Vladislav Ribnikar's school, killing 10 people and injuring 6 others.
8 students and a security guard are dead after a shooting at a school. Now, this happened in the capital city of Belgrade. 6 other students, as well as a teacher, were wounded.
9 of his 10 victims were students, while the other was the school's security guard. Police said Kekmanovic himself called the authorities and surrendered. They found 2 handguns, multiple magazines, and Molotov cocktails on him. Authorities said the attack was pre-planned.
Prema do sada prikupljenim saznanjima, dete KK u dužem vremenskom periodu planirao je izvršenje ovog krivičnog dela.
They discovered a hit list that had the names of the children Kekmanovic planned to execute.
Da ovo izvrši, ovo je bio spisak dece koju je planirao da likvidira.
They also found a detailed map with drawings of targeted classrooms at his desk. According to reports, Kekmanovic was often bullied by his peers and classmates. However, due to his age being below the age of criminal responsibility in Serbia, which is 14, Kekmanovic did not face any legal charges and was placed under psychiatric care in a hospital in Belgrade. Instead, the focus shifted to Kekmanovic's parents. Since it was the father whose gun was used in the shooting, he was charged with acts against public safety, while Kekmanovic's mother was accused of child neglect.
So, like, if I let my kid drive my car and they kill someone with it by accident or on purpose, it's my fault because they used my car? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Trial is still ongoing. While Kosta Kekmanovic may never face real justice due to his country's laws, what happens when police inefficiency results in more victims?
Sir, if you can hear me, please put your firearm down, sir. Please don't hurt anyone else.
Like in the case of Salvador Ramos, who's seen walking into a school in tactical gear.
He looks like a killer too. Holy shit, man.
here with a rifle in hand. On May 24th, 2022, 18-year-old Ramos was involved in a mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in Texas that resulted in the deaths of several students and teachers.
19 fourth graders and 2 teachers were killed when a teenage gunman entered their classroom and started shooting.
Earlier that day, Ramos shot his grandmother in the face at their home in Uvalde after an argument over the teenager's school grades.
First thing that happened was that the gunman hit his grandmother in the face.
He then sent some disturbing text messages before driving off in a pickup truck and crashing it in a ditch near the school. As 2 passersby tried to provide help, Ramos shot at them and drove away. He then entered the school, gun in hand, narrowly missing a young child before opening fire in 2 classrooms. Local police arrived at the scene within minutes. They broke windows to rescue students and teachers from nearby classrooms.
It's okay, baby, it's okay. Come on, baby. Come on.
Then, upon hearing shots, officers rushed to the classroom where Ramos had barricaded himself in.
Oh, shots fired! Get inside! Go, go, go!
But were forced to retreat after shots were fired towards them.
Officers take fire within a minute of approaching rooms 111 and 112. They're forced to retreat to safety.
The officers waited at the end of the hallway as crucial time passed by. Before the U.S. Border Patrol Tactical Unit finally arrived and took charge of the situation.
The guys with the shields are behind everyone else. Like, what the fuck is that?
They managed to break into the classroom and kill the young shooter, but not before 19 students and 2 teachers lost their lives in the tragedy. They also found this chilling message left by Ramos, painted with his victim's blood. The police response to the incident was heavily criticized due to the delay in engaging the suspect and failing to follow active shooter training protocols. An investigation revealed there was visible confusion among first responders.
Hey, we're going in or we're staying here? What are we doing?
Confusion has some Uvalde PD officers unsure of their next move.
While some officers made it clear what needed to be done.
This building right here, brother, this building. We gotta get in, there's a threat.
No one was really sure who was in charge.
Wait, Chief is in there. Chief's in charge right now. Hold on. What are we doing?
They're all scared. They're all fucking scared. Like, I saw a guy, like, when they were waiting at the end of the hallway with a shield. Right there, you have a shield. Go at the end of the hallway, move up with the shield. Move up until you get to the threat with a guy covering you. You can even squat all the way underneath his shield. And the guy can stay behind you. And then you find a threat and you eliminate the fucking threat.
Inside, Uvalde Police Chief Pete Arredondo was having trouble trying to get into the classroom.
We're having a problem getting in the room because it's locked.
Arredondo was seen on his phone throughout the 74-minute police response.
Throughout the 73-minute police response, Arredondo repeatedly seen on his phone. He left his radios outside.
Then, as officers were contemplating their next move, a 4th grader called 911 from inside the classroom.
Hello. I'm calling with the Are you okay? No, there's a school shooting. What's your name, ma'am? Chloe Torres, please hurry. There's a lot of dead bodies.
Still, no one moved in. Instead, more attempts were made to negotiate with the shooter while wounded children and teachers bled out.
Please put your gun down, sir. Sir, if you can hear me, please put your firearm down, sir.
And it's like, kids, this is like the most, like, you're gonna let kids die? Like, this is not like a high school or university or whatever. Still, you don't want anyone to die. But these are little kids. Like, you rush in and you eliminate the fucking threat, man.
Please don't hurt anyone else.
Finally, when Border Police arrived, they realized the gravity of the situation and took charge. Experts later deemed the whole response as lacking leadership and competency.
To hear him try to negotiate with an active shooter real time as those babies were being massacred is just nonsensical. It is a clear lack of leadership and incompetence.
Grieving parents and family members of the victims sued the city and Texas police over the botched rescue operation. Recently, they settled with Texas City for over $2 million. While we may never find out Salvador Ramos's true motives for the shooting, what happens when you murder your classmates is a science experiment? Like in the case of Gabriel Ross Parker, who was accused of killing 2 students in Benton, Kentucky. On January 23, 2018, 15-year-old Parker opened fire with his father's pistol on students who gathered in the hallway of Marshall County High School.
The latest on that deadly shooting at a Kentucky high school. A 15-year-old student is in custody this morning.
Reports suggest the sophomore student had previously gone to the band room to ensure his friends were not in the area before commencing the attack. Within moments, police were dispatched to the scene.
If you can respond to Marshall County High School. Marshall County High School, active shooter. 4 people down, 1 unresponsive. The shooter's still on site.
Got 1 shot in the head, 1 to the back, 1 to the abdomen.
But tragically, 15-year-old Bailey Holt lost her life in the gunfire. 14 other students were injured. They were rushed to a nearby hospital where 15-year-old Preston Cope succumbed to his injuries.
17 people injured, 14 of them shot. 2 15-year-olds died.
Gabriel Parker was arrested and faced multiple charges, including 2 counts of murder. He later pleaded guilty to all charges.
No, you're pleading guilty to all of those counts because you were truly guilty and no other reason.
Yes, Your Honor.
At his sentencing, Holt's mother addressed her young daughter's killer.
You're a sorry, low-life demon, piece of garbage, and I can't stand the sight of you, and you will never see the light of day again, and for that I'm grateful.
She also had some harsh words for his parents.
Their parenting skills are obviously demented and have raised nothing but a worthless demon.
The prosecution read a transcript of what Parker said during his interrogation.
That's why he's responsible. I don't really know. I just kind of felt like it, I guess.
It revealed the teenager viewed the shooting as an experiment.
I was interested to see how things would happen, so I suppose in a way just out of curiosity of what would go on. How would people react? I've been curious about prison. You hear stuff, but you never know what it's really like.
Ultimately, Parker was sentenced to life in prison for the murders of Bailey Holt and Preston Cope. While Gabriel Parker's experiment resulted in him spending the rest of his life in prison, what happens when a teenager assembles a hit squad to kill an 8th grader? Like in the case of Caden Holland, a rapper who's accused of trying to kill a youngster in Maryland. Also known as Baby K, 15-year-old Holland often posed with guns and wrote songs about carjackings.
Go get us a car, we might go jack.
Then on May 1st, 2023, Holland jumped on a Prince George's County school bus with 2 others and attempted to shoot a 14-year-old student, pulling the trigger 3 times.
Prince George's County Police have released photos of 3 very young suspects who they say forced their way right into a school bus Monday to try and kill a middle schooler.
Miraculously, his gun jammed each time, sparing the student's life. Holland escaped and went on the run for a few weeks. Eventually, authorities arrested Holland and charged him with attempted murder in the 1st degree. Holland
jammed, or was his safety on and he's just too much of an idiot to know that it was on?
Later pleaded guilty to all charges. His plea agreement stipulates a minimum sentence of 25 years in prison. Caden Holland is currently incarcerated, awaiting his fate.
Well, that was a pretty long one, but hope you guys liked it. Lots of crazy people out there. You gotta be careful, man. But anyways, stay safe. Hope you guys liked it. Please like and subscribe if you can. I don't like saying it, but my channel's not really growing, so I would appreciate it. Thank you. Peace.